Welcome to Your Life After Divorce. Take a breath with me. If you're here, chances are something in your life ended in a way that you didn't expect it or you didn't want. And I want to say this clearly right from the start. Your life is not over. It is being reintroduced. See, divorce has a way of making everything feel final. Final conversations, final versions of yourself, final dreams you thought were already written. But what often goes unspoken is this: endings do not erase you, they actually reveal you. When a relationship ends, it's not the relationship you grieve the reversion of yourself that existed inside of it. The routines, the future plans, the identities that were wrapped around being someone's partner. And when that disappears, it can feel like you were disappeared too. But here's the actual truth: you were never meant to stay the same version of yourself forever. This season isn't about rebuilding what was, it's actually about meeting who you are now. And that can feel terrifying, it can feel freeing, and all both at the same time. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Try asking, who am I being invited to become? Because this chapter is not punishment, it is initiation. Ask yourself, who am I now without explaining yourself to anyone? Like, seriously, sit back and ask yourself that. Sit with it, journal it, let it breathe in you for a little bit. Who are you now without anyone prompting you, without explaining yourself to anyone? Just who have you become? For me, I know that divorce was a rebirth. I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to survive. There's no way I'm going to be able to live my life. And what I found out was I actually can. I became a version of me that I never knew I could become. I didn't know my strengths. I knew my weaknesses, of course, because we all know our weaknesses, but I didn't know my strength and I didn't embrace who I truly was. I learned about me in the dating world. I learned about me in the intimacy and pleasure world, and I just learned about me in the being world. And I'm going to tell you, the way I knew I was authentically me was when I was able to be myself, not joined with someone else, but to be able to be myself, love myself, date myself, explore myself. So in this series that we're going to go ahead and start, we're going to be talking about your journey through through this new life that you've been handed. Like I said, for some people they feel it's a death sentence, but you have to reframe your mindset and you have to look at this as a rebirth. This is a chance for you to do something maybe you've never done before. This is a chance for you to take a trip that maybe you never would not have taken before. Take up a hobby that you may not have ever done before if you were still in that married state. That's something that I had to learn to do. Someone asked me one time, what's one step you would tell somebody to do? What's the first step you would tell somebody to do if they are just now if they are just now divorced? And what I told them was, I would basically say, do something alone that you normally would have been afraid to do. It might be going to a restaurant alone. I know a lot of people do not like to eat by themselves. That is like no, don't make me eat by myself, cardinal sin, right? But go to a restaurant by yourself, date yourself, take yourself out somewhere nice, unapologetically. Don't be afraid to do that. Like I said, learn a new hobby. My thing that I started doing when I first got divorced was traveling. I started to travel. I would travel with friends, I would travel by myself, but I just had to have the boldness to say, you know what? I need to start living my life for me. I need to do this because this is what Bree needs to do. I want to go from surviving. And what does survival mode mean? Survival looks like you're just going every day, your mundane day. Get up, have a cup of coffee, go into your job, connect with some people at work, and just kind of going through your everyday life. And so that was survival mode. If I could just get through going to the grocery store, if I could just get through this workout, if I could just get through the weekend. And it was just surviving, and then come home, shower, get in the bed, and just wait and wash, rinse, repeat, and do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I wanted to stop that. I wanted to thrive. What does thriving look like? Thriving is being an active participant in your life. I'll say that again. Thriving is being an active participant in your life. It is getting rid of the guilt. What is guilt? Guilt says, I've done something wrong. And you have not done anything wrong. You are not in this place because you are a failure. You are not in this place because no one wanted you. You are not discarded. You are just now starting. You are restarted, not discarded, restarted. You're restarting another chapter in your life. So, thriving also, so thriving looks like not going through your everyday life, doing something that you may have put on hold, getting rid of the guilt and getting rid of the shame. What is shame? Shame is saying, not that I did something wrong, but something is wrong with me. And that is a lie. There is nothing wrong with you. You are a strong person. And I'm not saying strong in the sense of don't let anybody see you cry. I'm not saying strong in the sense of you got to be superwoman. I'm saying strong in the sense of you are resilient. You can bounce back. Your life has just begun. You are not on hold. You are not on pause. You are on full go mode. Now, I'm not saying, if you're not comfortable getting out there and just I'm not saying go like crazy. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I am saying to enjoy life. You give yourself permission for pleasure. And when I say pleasure, I'm not just talking in a sexual way. Give yourself full permission to enjoy your life. Let's rebuild self trust. How do you rebuild self trust? I'm glad you asked. Rebuilding self trust is not having somebody say you need to start to trust yourself. Rebuilding self trust is making little promises to yourself. If you promise, hey, I'm going to start setting boundaries, then act on that. Don't let yourself down. What you promise yourself you're going to do it. That's how you build trust. Have confidence in yourself. Know that you're more than know that you can do more than you maybe even think that you can do. Confidence comes from within. And you have to allow yourself to be able to be confident, because I'm telling you, there were things that I never in my a million years would have dreamt I could have done outside of divorce. I literally went from living in my parents' home to being married to being in Europe and now being in back in America, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I was able to do it. And so now here I am divorced. My identity was being a mom and a wife. Well, I'm still a mom, but I'm no longer a wife. I had to find out, what does Bree like? What makes Bree thrive? And what I found out is some of the stuff that I thought I liked, I thought I liked I still do like hosting. I like having people over, but it doesn't have to be a big thing. I like intimate settings, I like having a couple of people over and just maybe having, some wine, or just kind of relaxing. It doesn't have to be a production like it used to have to be, right? I didn't have to surround myself with people in order for me to be happy. I've learned in my thriving mode, I don't mind being alone. I don't have to have an entourage around me everywhere I go. Just the other weekend, I went over to a place in here in San Antonio called the Pearl, and it's a really nice outdoor indoor area. So they have like parks or not a park, but they have walking trails and different stores and stuff you can go in. And I went by myself, and I was okay with that. I was okay with that. I felt empowered. I felt alive. I felt vibrant. I don't meet a stranger. So, of course, when I get there, whoever I sit next to, I'm talking to them. They had a wine and a beer tasting, which I just happened to roll up on, right? And there were two ladies that were there, and oh my god, we had the most amazing conversation. And it was just maybe a 5-10 minute conversation about the wines and the beers, and we were okay with that. I was okay with that. Once it was done, I went home, and I was okay with myself. That's another thing in this. Learn to enjoy your own company. Learn to enjoy your own company. What I want us to be able to do within the next few weeks, and so every week I will put something out. And what I want to do within the next few weeks is I want to reclaim. I want you to reclaim who you are. And I'm not saying reclaim that old person you were. I'm saying reclaim this new person that you are. Release yourself from the guilt, release yourself from the shame, release yourself from the lies that other people have told you about what being divorced is. Release yourself from your old belief systems on what divorce means, and allow yourself the freedom to be you. What our focus is on this week is reclaiming our voice, having a voice where you're able to speak. Hey, if you want to say no, no is a complete sentence. No, unapologetically, fine. Let's get to a place where we're setting boundaries. Boundaries are okay. In fact, people embrace boundaries. People respect boundaries when you respect your boundaries. So that's another way of building self-trust. Set the boundary and stick to the boundary. And no is a complete sentence. We want to also learn how to embrace pleasure in our lives. And again, like I said, it's not just sexual, but also just what do you enjoy? What do you like? So I want you to sit back and I want you to think, this week, I have a voice to be able to set my boundaries and to be able to speak with authority the things I want to do and the things I don't want to do. I want you to think reclaim. You're not going to reclaim who the old you was. You're going to reclaim your mind, and you're going to reframe your mind so that you can think and you can act on this new person that you are. And I want you to think rebirth. In fact, I want you to journal. I love journaling because it shows a beginning, a middle, and where you are now. And don't necessarily journal about, oh my God, I feel this pain. I hate this. I hate that. You don't have to necessarily journal about that, but journal where you are at this exact moment. And when you journal, I like for you to put a date and a time. And the reason why is, as you start to journal and move forward, you'll start to notice that when you go back to the first day that you wrote into your journal and you see, man, on this day at this time, this is how I felt. And if you start to notice, dang, at 8 o'clock every night, I start to feel like this. Well, because you're journaling, you can go and you can see, dang, okay, that is a real thing. At 8 o'clock every night, I feel like this. Now, why? What am I doing at 8 o'clock every night that makes me feel like this? And then you start to answer that question. And so journal, and I like journaling too, because a lot of people will take a journal and they'll turn it into a book. And it's the rewriting your story, rewriting your chapter. This chapter ended and now this is the new chapter. I don't know if you remember those books. I used to love these books when I was in school. And the way they would go was the book would start out like, you're on this journey, right? And then you'll get to a certain page and it'd be like, if you want to do this, turn to this page, or if you want to do that, go to the other page. And I used to like that because I felt like I was helping the author write the story, right? I know that sounds crazy. It's true. I felt like I was helping, like I was an authoress. I know that's not a word. I was an author. And I was like, I got to tell how this story ended. Or I would go back and be like, okay, what if I would have chose this? And so that's what we're doing. That's what we're concentrating on this week. What do you want your story to be in all aspects of your life? You may be thinking, okay, I was married for 25 years and I was on this path. You know what? I'm going to now, rewrite my story and let's move to this path. And that's okay. You're going to have some bumps and bruises. Somebody asked me, how do you grieve in divorce, and then how do you grieve and embrace your new life? And I said it's easy. Well, not easy, but two things can exist at the same time. You can grieve, and you can also have a positive outlook on what your life is going to become. Two things can exist at the same time. Grief doesn't mean you have to stay sitting in a hole and sitting there and bandaging up your wounds. No, you can grieve while you're still embracing this new chapter in your life. That is okay for you to do. So I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to take this week and journal. We're going to reclaim our voice. We're going to reframe our mind, and we're going to um, set some boundaries, and let's get started on this journey together. You're not alone. I pledge to be here with you on this. I'm telling you, I have learned a lot, and I really, really, really want to help you all get to a place where where you're no longer surviving, but you're actually thriving. Again, also give yourself permission one day this week to do something alone. Like I said, it could be go to a movie, it could be go to eat. Just do something alone and embrace this new chapter of your life. My name is Bree Clay, and I just want us to just move from surviving to thriving in our new chapter of life after divorce.